We will see about the implementation use cases of Mashzone, and finally we'll go through a demo how to implement the Mashzone. So in this slide, it explains about the interactive reporting of business relevant data. In any organization, how would a business user prefer to read the data? Like an XML data you see on the slide, or HTML data, or like graphs, interactive graphs. If I'm a business user, I would prefer to read the data as an interactive graphs. Mashzone, a product from Software AG, will allow you to create the interactive graphs. This is one of the process intelligence solution product and information engine for everyone. You can create a mashup in minutes on whatever you choose. For example, you can analyze any KPI, you can create mashups for special campaigns, you can create mashups for competitors or customer satisfaction. Benefits of interactive way of reporting data. Analyze any aspect of your business in real time, anywhere. In simple words, it can be explained as your mashups or your reports are ready accessible to anyone from anywhere. You can represent the data as column charts, pie charts, speedometers, line charts, bubble charts. These will all improve the visualization of your raw data within your organization. Interactive reporting, a browser-based solutions encompassing the multi-dimension reports, analytics, dashboards, charts, visualized just within few clicks. You can also develop the interactive mashups for evaluating the wide range of raw data for different external and internal sources. Mashup also provides a good insight to know the things around us for accurate and faster decision making. In this slide, we will see about the advantages of implementing Mashzone in organization. So you can develop the look and feel dashboards for easy understanding of your raw business data. Also, you can visualize the KPI as an interactive graphs to the business users within your organization. You will also get a chance to evaluate the KPI for accurate and faster decisions of your business. Visualization also helps to monitor the business process that were executed and report the changes noticed in the process. So you can see the changes that happen to your process all the time. It allows you to analyze the process that were executed, and better steps can be taken to improve the SLA. Finally, it is easy for a business user to understand the reports rather than the system information. We can quickly develop the mashups and report about the business to the users. So whatever points like we discussed are represented as simple words like dashboards, showcase KPI, benchmarking KPI, process monitoring, process analysis, and business reporting. In this slide, we will talk about the architecture of Mashzone. In this architecture diagram, you can see a data sources, data feeds, data feed editor, dashboards, dashboard editor, which is also called as composer, and Mashzone server. The source from the data feed to the Mashzone server through the data sources. Mashzone server will process the raw data, and data feed editor is a browser-based application which is used to develop the data feeds. Dashboard process the data into visual screens like dash charts. Composer is a browser-based application to design your dashboards. What finally we see as a mashup that is displayed in your browsers and mobile applications. So data source of Mashzone server. What are the data sources for the Mashzone server? Mashzone server has got the capability to get the data from any external or internal sources. CSV files, MS Excel file, XML file sources can get the data from HTTP, HTTPS, or Mashzone repository, and we can get the data from network drives as well. Database data source can connect to any of your database within the organization, and you can write the custom queries to fetch the data from the source. Mashzone can integrate with web methods, Aries, Terracotta, using the data sources WM Optimize, WM Events, Aries Table, and Big Memory. So you can see these data sources on left-hand side panel of the screen. Data feed data source can fetch the data from the existing data feeds as well, and it has got a capability to fetch the manual data that was introduced in the feed development. So what is data feed? Data feed is a prepared data in a tabular form. Data feed can be accessed by the dashboards to visualize accordingly. So whatever the data feeds we have prepared, that can be visualized in the dashboards as different types of charts that we require. Data feeds consist of several columns which may contain text, numeric, and date values. Feed editor is a browser-based tool which uses the data sources, operators, and user inputs to prepare the data feed. These data feeds can be prepared through the feed editor. Design your own dashboards. So what is a dashboard? Dashboard is an interactive application that collects the data from the feed and visualizes the raw data. So dashboard includes a graphical components such as columns, column charts, line charts, bar charts, pie charts, bubble charts, speedometer, traffic lights, images, text, tables, selection boxes, and mapping interfaces as well. So there are these dashboards can be interfaced to Google Maps, GeoMaps, and Bingo Maps. Mashzone provide a graphical composer tool, which we call as a composer, to design your own dashboards. How you can administrate the Mashzone controls? So Mashzone has a central user management console which can manage LDAP connections, licenses, users, and user privileges. And it has a console for server settings which can control the resources of your organization, proxy server connections, and it has interfacing with the Google Maps, GeoMaps, and we can include the email templates as well. Administrators can import, export, or delete the data feeds and dashboards. We can also share these resources among the users. Administrators can create, edit, or manage the database connections, BPM connections, web methods, event bus connections, and Terracotta connections. So these are all the operations that administrator can perform in a Mashzone. We'll go to the next slide. How it works, how the Mashzone it works. In this slide, you will see an overall view to integrate the applications with the Mashzone and develop the mashups. Integrate data from all kinds of sources inside or outside your company, such as CSV files, XML files, Excel files. You can get the data from Aries Business Server or Web Methods Optimize. And also you can get the data from JDBC sources, and Active Directory integration also simplifies the company's wide usage. You can also feed the external data such as financial information from Yahoo, and you can also integrate with Google Maps, GeoMaps. Data sources are used in the feed editor to calculate the feed information. The feed editor provides a drag and drop interfaces to perform the operations and other functions. And finally, you can build a mashup in minutes using a drag and drop interfaces. In Mashzone Composer, you will find a wide range of visualization options that we have discussed earlier, like different types of charts and mapping interfaces to get started. Use the data feeds to incorporate the data from these sources to the mashups. In this slide, we will see about the use cases of Mashzone in real time. So, use case 1. You can integrate your SaaS application close to your on-premises application quickly and efficiently. It also gives a deep insight into cloud integration usage patterns within your organization. We can see the status of the SOAP API, REST API connectors that were set up for the particular server. It will also show the usage patterns such as SaaS provider, which SaaS provider is used most often. It also provides a deep vision of analytics at service level, SLA, error performance metrics, and we can also see the transaction view. This is another use case of Mashzone. In this use case, you can expose your IS services to the Mashzone and you can visualize the data from the services as an interactive graph. Mashzone catchy setup feature can refresh the data from the services in the specified interval of time. The least you can cache is 1 second to 5 hours. So in this specified interval of time, you can get the data from those services. This on-premises application can analyze and visualize the transactions processed through web methods. Use case 3. You can also integrate the Mashzone with other software AG product suites. Data from web methods, Aries, Terracotta can be directly fed to the Mashzone using the data sources Aries table, WM Optimize, WM Events, and Big Memory. So this makes the organization to generate the analytics for any kind of events or any kinds of events within your organization. So this is another use case. In addition, Mashzone can be integrated with CRM, ERP systems to analyze the information such as purchase orders, invoices, inventory, and other data processed on those systems to visualize the data within organization. But what the limitation is, you need to expose your ERP and CRM system services as a HTTP in a CSV or Excel or XML format to the Mashzone. Use case 5. Mashzone allow you to keep an eye on web methods audit tables, error tables to monitor the critical service failures. This helps a concerned business owner in understanding the reasons for the failure, and better steps can be taken to improve the SLA. So I would like to discuss about the success story for one of our vendors. ProSoft has proven the Mashzone implementation for one of our vendors. They have successfully used the Mashzone to report the performance of integration services in very presentable manner. Going in detail about this implementation, what we have implemented is calculation of trends of integration server services from web methods audit table. Like data from the audit table is fed to the Mashzone server, and finally we represent the data in a graphical manner to showcase the trends, like what is comparisons between the last month executions and this month executions, and how many failures. All those trends are reported through Mashzone. And second implementation that we have done is integrating Mashzone with Active Transfer for the analytics. So the way it was implemented is Mashzone integrate with the MFT pool database to know the file transfer trends, and Software AG provides a default deployable mashups to calculate the trends from the database. So Software AG provides you data feeds that query from the MFT pool database to calculate the trends. So this is one of the success story that we have implemented for one of our preferred customer. So, ProSoft advantage. ProSoft is helping clients in accelerating the middleware infrastructure, administration, and other support activities. ProSoft ESP reference architecture SOA governance service approach is proven, redefined by multiple successful past implementations. Having the Mashzone in your organization simplifies the need of the business process intelligence for your organization. So as a part of this webinar, we will see a demo as well. In this demo, I'm taking an example of a real estate company that wants to invest a huge amount on fast growing cities in Texas. So they need to monitor the current weather changes in those cities to reduce the investment on construction due to weather changes. After working internally, they have gathered some requirements to make the comparisons. So those are the maximum and minimum temperatures reported in cities, city with the highest average temperature of all cities, and the clouds information in all the cities. So what's the implementation part here we are doing is, the data feed will interact with the weather API available on internet to get the data from the to get the weather data, and these data feeds will be finally consumed by the dashboard to report to develop the mashups, and developed mashups can be seen through browsers or mobile applications. We will go to the demo. So once the Mashzone server is installed and set up in your organization, you can log into the Mashzone server using your server host name, port number /Mashzone. It will display a login page like this. So once the login page is displayed, provide your username and password. You can log into the screen. So since this is a browser-based application, all the operations functions can be done through the browser, and it is very easy to implement once you have this setup. And there is no coding required, entirely it's drag and drop interfacing. So what you see is the home page here. Home page contains the info. It's a main home page where you can create a dashboard, where you can search for the dashboards, or you can create the data feeds, or you can search for the data feeds using popular keywords or using the find function. So these options allow you to create the data feeds and dashboards. So we are going to see a data feed that was already created. I have selected the data feeds here, and on the right hand side I click on edit. It opened a new browser. This is called a feed editor that we have discussed earlier in the other PPT. So this feed editor allows you to create the data feeds. So these are the data sources that are available to get the data from different applications, and we have a lot of operations that you can perform on these data feeds once the data is captured from the feeds. And finally, there are the user inputs where you want to change any kind of data. So these data feeds, these data sources, operators, and user inputs are drag and drop. Simply you have to select and drag, drop here. You will see interfacing like this. So in this data feed, you can see I'm getting the information from an API about the weather for 4 different cities. So I've used the 4 different XML sources to get the data from the API. So finally, what I'm doing is I'm concatenating those data feeds. So as I told earlier, it shows everything as a tabular form. This is called results panel, where you can see the results of the existing data that was got from the API. So at every steps, you can calculate the results, or you can see the results. So finally, what I'm doing is I'm changing the I'm filtering the rows as a Kelvin. So the report that was given is a Kelvin. I'm changing into the Fahrenheit. in order to do that, I have used some arithmetic operations to change the temperature from Kelvin to Fahrenheit. Finally, I'm replacing the Kelvin with Fahrenheit, and I'm calculating the average of temperature here using the average function, and I'm rounding those numbers to a precision of 2, finally map to an output. So all these mappings and drag and drop are very simple. You see, just map like this. So once everything is ready, you can see your output in output panel. So we have the data feed ready. Now we need to create a dashboard and make the dashboard access this data feed. So I will go to the home page again, and we can use the create option to create the dashboards. We are going to see a dashboard that was already created. So I have selected the dashboard that was created and edit. This is a browser-based application for dashboards called Composer, where you can compose the dashboard as you require. You see there are a lot of visual options here, like tables, you have charts. So these are all select and drag and drop, and you have Aries connections, you have speedometers, and you have traffic lights, and you have vector maps, text, and we have a lot of options to explore in this scene. In this composer, it's just simply drag and drop. So once you drag and drop, it will show you we can feed the information into the data into this composer like this, select, and you can assign the data feed to the particular chart. Finally, you can map it. Once the mapping is done, we will get a report like this. So this report can be previewed like this. Finally, after preparing report, click on preview. You see, this is how the report is generated. In this report, you can observe that the temperature in Houston, the minimum temperature in Houston is 81, the maximum temperature is 88, and and for the other cities also it is reported as a bar graph, and the average is reported as a pie chart. The city with most highest average is Houston, that is 26.3, and the average temperature of all the reports is represented as speedometer, and we can, for the speedometer, we can set the values where we want to say we are crossing higher temperatures or we are cold. Finally, the clouds information is represented as a table. So currently in Dallas we have only few clouds. In El Paso you can see the clouds information as broken clouds. So with this we will end our demo. I will open the session to question and answer.
Thank you, Said. Yeah, thank you, Sai. Thank you so much. It's indeed a great presentation. Right now we are open to questions. I'll request our senior architect and the host of our webinars, Ankit Malhotra, to read out those questions to Sai. And whoever wanted to ask questions, you can place the questions on the question and answers tab on the right side of GoToMeeting window, and we can read them to Sai. Ankit, can you please read the questions already placed?
Yeah. Thank you, James. Thanks, Sai. So I have a couple of interesting questions from my participants today. So the first question seems to be technical for you. It asks, can we combine data feed from multiple sources to create a mashup?
Yes, we can get the data from multiple sources to create the mashups. So for this, like, you need to create a multiple data feeds, and while creation of the dashboards, we have to assign those feeds information differently.
Thank you. The second question is again, technical task. Can we write our own utility to do complex calculations?
This is an interesting question. Actually, we can do, but it's not advisable to do, because data feed which calculates a business data, I mean, there is no sense of using it to do a calculation. So it's always suggested to do calculations differently for particular feeds.
Thank you. Another question, the participants wants to know how can we promote assets like configuration or mashup or data feeds which we configure from our lower environment to higher environment, which possibly could be a production environment.
Yeah, when we are talking about the administration of Mashzone, those slides I've explained you about central management, user management. So in user management, we have 3 levels of users. One is administrators, users, and viewers. Administrators are the one who can export or import or share these data feeds or dashboards among to the higher environments or to the different users. And users are the one who can create or edit those dashboards, and viewers are the one who can only view the dashboards. So your answer would be administrators could be able to export the dashboards from lower environments to higher environments.
Okay. Another question is related to reporting, wherein the participants want to know, can we integrate Mashzone with any other applications in our organization?
Yeah, there is no direct plugin to integrate Mashzone with the other applications. The way you can do it, you need to have your application expose your services as an Excel, XML, or the suggested supported formats by the Mashzone. So we can Mashzone can consume those services to represent the data and report the data. And the good feature is it works independent component, so it can be integrated to any application as long as you expose your services as a supported format.
Thank you, Sai. So I have one last question. I'm not sure whether it is to ask about the limitation of license, but the question is how many users can access Mashzone server at a point of time?
Yeah, this is a very good question. I mean, it always depending on your licensing. So when you buy the license, you will get the users. These many users can access the server. So that always depend on the license that you have brought.
Okay. Hope we have answered all the questions from our participants. And in case if we have any more questions, please feel free to send us an email. The details are provided in the last slide. And don't miss to register on our next webinar, which is on managed file transfer. Thank you, Sai. Handing over to James. James, you can take it.
Yep. Thanks, Ankit. I see, I mean, near to 15 questions. I'll surely answer them, I mean, through emails, independent emails, and I'll send those individually. But thank you so much for your time today. I'll take this opportunity to welcome all the participants of today's webinar to Innovation World, which is happening next month from October 12th to 14th. ProSoft, as usual, is going to be the platinum sponsor for this event, and hosting many customer-centric events and demos. I'll surely look forward to see you there. For any of the discounts or for any of the process, you can certainly contact your ProSoft representatives or surely revert back to me. I'll send out a thanks note. You can place all your questions or any information about Innovation World or any information about ProSoft. I'll be more than glad to address that. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to see you on our next webinar next Wednesday at the same time. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.